Hi, and we'd like to welcome Patrick Chambers, Chairman of Hungerford Town, to the non-league radio show. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Stephen. I'm the non-league radio show.
Yes, the first interview I'm recording as part of the show, so very exciting stuff. What I'm trying to do on a lot of the shows with a lot of the recorded interviews is try and find out myself a lot more about how clubs are run from all levels in the non-league down to Sunday morning, and find out what people's jobs are and let other people who listen to the show find out what goes on. So before we get stuck into your chairman's role, what's your background?
So, my background, born and bred in Nottingham. So, whilst I live in Berkshire now, obviously, not far from the ground at Hungerford, I'm a Nottingham Forest fan, born and bred. Lucky that I was born in 1960, so I was 17 when we won our first league title, 18 first European Cup, 19. Needn't go on. So that's my background. Yeah, Nottingham born and bred, and Forest fan still am.
Good stuff. Well, you probably guess I'm a Newcastle fan for my sins anyway. So anyway, we'll move on from that one. So how did the link with Hungerford Town come around?
So that was my wife's fault. So being a Forest fan and living in Berkshire, not ever so practical. So wasn't really getting up to see them, and I didn't really feel like I'd go and watch clubs like Southampton, who I'm not too far away from, Reading, where I've actually, cheered Forest on against them. And I was working with a guy that was a chairman of another club, Simon Sesson. He was talking about Hungerford, and that they'd got into the National League South, and this guy had been putting money in, blah, 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 blah. And I just kept saying, I'll perhaps go and watch them. And 1 year goes by, I didn't go. Another year goes by. And then I'm literally getting ready one morning, and my wife is reading something on Facebook. Chairman of Hungerford Town's leaving, treasurer's leaving, secretary's leaving, manager might be leaving. And she sort of said to me, she says, you'd make a good chairman. And I said, well, I was only thinking about going to watch them. And, cut the long story short, 10 days later, I was the new chairman of Hungerford Town, and it was like being in a beauty contest with only one contestant.
That's good. I like that one. So, on a day-to-day basis, what does your role involve? I know I sent you some things like a day-to-day, like transfers, recruitment, finance, the community, the teams. There's a lot of things there to get stuck in. So maybe it's the day-to-day, your day-to-day running of the club or being involved with the club.
Yeah, so we're members owned. So nobody actually owns Hungerford Town. We all own it as members. So I describe myself really as a volunteer, but with extra responsibility. I'm in my fourth season now, and in that first season, it was sort of getting to grips what the issues are. I've got a solid business background and wanted to find a way where I could apply that. So it's a part-time voluntary role. I make my donations to the club, as do many other supporters. But yeah, I get the finances in order. We've got a treasurer who does all the bank extra, but my wife works hard with me as well on getting more sponsorship, donations, improving the offering. Particularly the match day offering was something we wanted to make special for away fans because we're such a small club, small postcode. So yeah, I'm involved in all negotiations with the players. So the gaffer, Danny Robinson, he would always decide who he wants to bring on board. I have a sort of a rule of about 60% contract maximum, 40% non-contract, so that you've got some flexibility. And once the gaffer's had a chat with the player, then yeah, I sit down with them and we agree a deal because our budget is tight. We're pretty confident we're still the smallest budget in the National League South. We were the smallest average crowd. The crowd the season before I took over, average was 289. We're now up to 451. So we're pretty proud of that. And last season we did actually have a couple of teams slightly below us on that average, but it still is way down on some of the the bigger clubs. So the day-to-day is just trying to find ways to improve the financial situation of the club, and we're stable. Make sure we're spending our money in the right ways, supporting the gaffer the best way I can. and like improving that match day experience with the fans. I'm actually on the gate on match days. We've got our famous 4 for a score deal, so I'll give that a plug.
Yeah, no
for
problem.
20 quid, you get your entry, your programme, a meal deal that can include our famous burger and chips.
I was going to get onto that later. I was going to get onto that
well,
burger
we can
later.
talk about that later, because that's a whole story on its own, Stephen, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I mean, there's lots of things involved with running a football club, but we've also got other volunteers, committee members, lots of people that do their bit, a band of volunteers, and without them, the club wouldn't run.
Yeah, I mean, many years ago when I was a kid, I was ball boy at Blythe Spartans, the local club where I was brought up, and not until recently, till I've started doing all this digging into non-league football and volunteers, you actually realise how many people are volunteers are doing things at these football clubs. It's unreal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we pay the manager, and our coaches and players. We've got a bar steward manager who gets paid, and then a groundsman. But outside of that, everybody else is a volunteer. Everybody.
So how many teams are you running from, like, the first team down to juniors, I'm guessing? Yeah,
so obviously we've got the first team, then we've got what we call our community team, which are called the Swifts, and they don't get paid. They play for fun. But there's still a Saturday team, but it does give some of the youngsters from our academy a chance to play some men's football. So then we have an academy which is run by Procision on our behalf. We've currently got one first team player who's now a regular, who came through our academy. Another one who did play for us for a while, had to drop down a couple of levels, but looks like he might be coming back soon. So hopefully we'll have 2 in the squad that come through the academy. And then we've got a huge junior section, which is run by Darren Pettifer and again another group of volunteers, but in the name of Hungerford Town. And there's over 200 juniors involved. Once we get the new 3G pitch at the school that's next door but one to us, then we plan to launch our first ladies team as well. We have got girls teams in the juniors, but we haven't got an adult girls ladies team, which is something we want to do.
Yeah, I mean, that must be massive for having, like, juniors coming through, and then someone makes it into the first team. To the like you say, the ladies down the line, or the men's teams down the line. That must be a massive bonus to have people that's actually came through the whole system to end up playing for the first team.
Yeah, it's a dream, and in fact, the current player is a centre back called Matt Berry-Hargreaves. He's 23 years old. He did look a star in the making when he was in our academy, and he actually got signed by Oxford United straight from the academy. So he skipped our first team, went straight to Oxford United. Had a couple of seasons with them, a few games with under 23s, but then sadly they let him go. He came back to us. That'll be 3 seasons ago now. Ended up going out on loan for a while to get a bit of experience at step 4 and step 5. Came back in and has started every game this season, and he's on a contract, full-time regular, and yeah, he's doing really, really well. So it's great for the fans, to see, a lad who's come through the academy from our junior section right the way through to the first team.
One thing I didn't mention in the notes, which I'm going to try and get stuck into in other shows, is about agents. I've always got this thing about how does it work with agents? Does the player come to the manager, and then the manager, or does the agent approach the club? If there's somebody who wants to, is interested in one of your players. I just wonder if you could give us some insight from your side of things, how that works.
Yeah, I mean, I try and avoid agents, if I'm honest with you. I think, a lot of the young players at our level don't really need them. There are some good ones out there, don't get me wrong. But I think for the majority of them, it's just a numbers game. And they're signing up all these young lads just hoping that they find, the next superstar. So we always want to talk to a player, because our motto is, we're signing the player, not the agent. If the agent then wants to get involved in the negotiation with me, then, I'll happily have that conversation with an agent. But the gaffer wants to speak to the player, wants to know that he's the right kind of character. It's not just their ability, it's not just their past. For us, because of our small budget, we need, the right type of player that's playing for the right reasons. We can't afford to pay the wages that a lot of teams do in our division, so they've got to be coming to Hungerford for the right reasons. So we do often shop at sort of step 3, step 4, and even step 5, looking for nuggets, that we can turn into diamonds, or those that have, fallen down perhaps the leagues and they're looking for somewhere to prove a point. And we've had 7 players turn pro in the last 4 seasons, which we're proud of.
Yeah, great stuff. And on the thing of players, how is the team actually doing? How has the start to the season been?
We probably picking the wrong day because we got our first proper battering last night.
I know. I said to the wife, I said,
we got beat 4-1 at Havant and Waterlooville, but let me tell you, many teams will and already have. They've probably got one of the best forward lines I've seen at our level for a very long time. We were in the game for 60 minutes. Actually, we did have a goal across the line, which sadly the linesman didn't notice, which would have made it 3-2. Which would have been interesting with 10 minutes to go. But yeah, no, we made a few mistakes, didn't take our chances, but they thoroughly deserved the win. Apart from that, we'd lost 4 games, but only 1-0. So defensively, we're very sound, but just not been taking our chances. But we did have the second top scorer in the division last season in Ryan Seeger. He's gone up to the National League and deserved his opportunity. And we're missing his goals at the moment, but we're playing some decent football, so whilst we're, around those bottom places at the moment, I don't really look at the league table till the end of October. It doesn't mean a lot, I don't think, until then.
I was saying that because I mentioned to the wife, I said, I'm interviewing a football gym tomorrow and they've just getting beat 4-1. I says, I haven't picked the best night. But it doesn't matter. Like you see, you've got to look further down.
That's what it is. Yeah, we'd only conceded 5 goals in 7 games.
Yeah.
So to concede 4 in one night is pretty rare for us. We've got a young keeper on loan from Bristol Rovers. He's only 19. He wasn't at fault for any of them. He had a good game, but it was just mistakes. Gave the ball away in the wrong areas, and they punished us. They were just very quick and incisive, and they deserved. They were great. There were 4 really good goals.
Yeah, going to that again about away fans and travel. Is that something the club supply, or like a bus, or is it? I don't know how many away fans you actually get. That's a question as well.
Yeah, so there's 4 or 5 reasonably local fixtures where our players would make their own way there, and we would just pay some expenses. But for all the other matches, because we have to go to Kent a lot and Essex, around London area, down to Taunton. Dover was the furthest we've been. So yeah, we have a team coach for the away games, and we do sell spare places on those to our fans as well. So, but we'll take anything from to the furthest fixtures, it might only be between sort of 30 and 50 fans, but if it was a Chippenham or a Slough, a bigger local derby, then we would perhaps take 70, 80. So when you think our average crowd is only 451,
yeah, it's a big proportion.
That's actually not a bad portion. We play some teams that have got 1,500 now on a Saturday, and they only bring 100. So as a percentage, we're often taking probably more fans.
All right, this burger gate. I keep saying burgers, and I've got to say, of all the food I've seen, the burger that I see you posting about is the best burger on the internet.
Well, and to be fair, nearly every away fan that's come and tried them, they've also posted it. Curly from Soccer AM, they came and did their bit, and he declared it the greatest burger, at a football ground that he'd ever eaten. He took on the Bullpit Beast, which is 2 6-ounce gourmet steak burgers in a brioche bun, with salad and chips, and we like I say, we have to become a good away destination. Our postcode is only 6,000 people.
Right.
So to actually get a crowd of of an average of 451, we need away fans to enjoy the day. We can't control what happens on the pitch, but we can control what happens off it. So we've really upped our game, which is a lot of that I say is down to my wife. She heads up our burger queens, and we put on some really good fare. We do chicken and chips. We do different pies, vegan pies. We even did fish finger sandwiches in the warm weather. So we are very proud about our food offering, and it's competitively priced.
Good stuff. I mean, I'm quite looking at the website, hungerfordtown.com, as we speak at some of the news. I've seen a thing there about discounted tickets prior to match day. Is that something that's
right.
is offered quite a bit for people
So
to get tickets?
Yeah, so we always offer a discount up until 12 noon on a match day if it's a Saturday, or 5 p.m. if it's an evening match. So the 4 for a score deal, the 20 quid, is only available online only. And most away fans tend to buy the 4 for a score deal, because they're nearly always going to buy a drink, they're nearly always going to buy food, and depending on what they order, they're saving up to £8.50 on match day prices, which that's a lot of money, especially right now, when, a lot of people have got less money in their pocket. So I think we've all got to be mindful of that.
Yeah, and obviously the interview, what we're doing now, is not going to go for a couple of weeks, but I can see you've got, is it FA Cup match at the weekend, is that correct?
Yeah, we've got Gloucester City this Saturday. I went and watched the other night there in National League North, so the same level of us, and their owner, Alex Petron's actually a pal of mine.
Right.
So we tend to play each other pre-season, in friendlies, but this will be the first time we've met each other competitively since I was chairman. So yeah, he'll be here on Saturday, and they'll bring a good few fans because it's only an hour away. So yeah, we should get over 500 on Saturday, and I think it'll be a good entertaining match. But fingers crossed we get through, and because a cup run again for small clubs like us, that's what paid for our new digital scoreboard last season. We won our first 2 FA Cup games and then lost to Bromley, in the 4th qualifying round. But that paid for a new scoreboard, so it makes a difference to us.
Yeah, last question, probably a difficult one, but where would you like to see the club in, say, 5 years' time, or yourself at the club, or sort of what aspirations have you got?
I'm more than happy to be very brutally honest. I think the fact that we're spending our 6th season at this level and the size we are, staying in this division is success. So whereas obviously a lot of chairmen, a lot of clubs would have aspirations of getting into the National League and the Football League, and don't get me wrong, if the gaffer puts a squad together that competes and we got into the playoffs, we would give it absolutely our best shot. But success for us is actually maintaining, our club at this level. That is success. We've got no right to be here on the money we spend on our average crowd. So we're sort of sticking one in there for the little guys. Our hashtag is small but mighty. So if we're still in the National League South and I'm still chairman in 5 years' time, then I think that would be a very successful 9-year period of being a chairman.
I totally agree. I don't know if there's any other news or anything coming up not too far away you want to get out, or anything you want to plug.
We're always looking to get new fans come through the door. So if anybody wants to come and try the best burger in non-league football, then I will be on the gate to give them their tokens and welcome them. And we always have ground hoppers. In fact, we had a ground hopper who we use his picture, so you'll have seen it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And he lives in Pontypridd in Wales. And he came the first time early on last season when he was reading about the burgers, and came on his bull pit beast, and he came 5 times last season and brought some of his friends, the last time he came. So, we're a friendly club. And of course, it's the highest level of football in the country, where you can actually, have your pie and your pint in your hand outside, while you're watching the football. If you go up to the National League, it's segregation and no alcohol outside. So again, I think that's something that's a bit special at our level. The fact that you're not segregated, you can have alcohol outside, you're treated like adults, never get any problems at our grounds, a family ground. Our juniors are always there every Saturday with parents. So yeah, I would encourage anybody who likes ground hopping and listens to this show, come and say hello.
Great stuff. I know the wife and me like to do quite a few road trips, so I'm guessing now there's burger. There's burgers in the go, and there's football on the go as well, and maybe somewhere we have to stop off on a Saturday afternoon when you're at home. And I'll let you know in advance when we're coming. But if people,
we'll have the burger ready for you, Stephen.
And if people want to follow you on Twitter, I think it's HTFC Patrick, obviously Hungerford Town Football Club.
Yeah. I also do my Chair to Chair podcasts, which if you look in some of my posts, you can find my Chair to Chair podcasts. I'll be doing another series this season. Quite a lot of people enjoy listening to them because it's just me and another chairman chatting about what it's like running a football club, some real in-depth. The first one I did was with Mark White, chairman of Dorking Wanderers. So obviously a lot of people know because a bunch of amateurs. I did Alex Pethram as well at Gloucester City. So there's several on there. So yeah, look at my posts, you'll see them on there. And it's on Podbean. So if you search Chair to Chair from me on Podbean, they're all on there.
Great stuff. I'll have a look as well because our radio music stuff that we do is all on Podbean as well. So I will give that a follow straight away. Well, many thanks for giving us your time and coming on the show. And
it's a pleasure.
And we'll keep an eye on what Hungerford Town is doing.
The only way is up.
Yes, I agree.
All right, nice to talk to you, Stephen. Good luck.
You too. If there's any other chairman, do you think, part of that may be interested in just coming on chatting like that?
I'm sure they will. We're a friendly bunch, actually, and most of us, we all get on.